Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmadgurubhyo Namaha Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Guru Ratmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavatyaptadehaaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Om Shri Medha Dakshinamurti Swamine Namaha Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavai Tejasvina Vadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Namaste once again, everyone.
Guruji.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste, Guruji. Pranam.
Pranam. Namaste.
Hari Om, Guruji.
Hari Om. Swamasangamudhasinam parignayana bhoyata naslishyate yathi kinchit kadachit bhavi karma bhihi. So Shankaracharya is now discussing what happens to the agami karma of a jnani. And as we saw, the agami karma of a jnani has got two components. The punya and papa accrued to a jnani due to actions done before rise of knowledge, that is before jnanam. And the second aspect is the results of the action done by his body, mind, sense complex after rise of knowledge. Which in Tattva Bodha he said, Jnanotpatti anantaram jnani deha kritam karma. So the karmas done after jnanam are not attributable to the jnani, but to the jnani's sharira. Because the Vishesha Abhimana, the conclusion that I am a karta, has been removed. He does not have kartritva bhavana. His karta status is gone. And in this sloka, Shankaracharya refers to such a person as yatihi, meaning the one who has given up ahankara and also kartritva bhavana, who is an internal sannyasi. Such a person, parignyaya, having gained the knowledge through Panchakosha Viveka, that swam asangaha, I have no relationship with Shariratrayam because I am of a higher order of reality. I am Paramarthika Satyaha and Udasinam. Even though I appear to do karma, because of my asangatvam, because of the firm knowledge that I am akarta abhokta, the punya papam relating to those karmas do not accrue to me. And therefore udasinam means akarta abhokta. It does not say Atma is akarta. That anybody can say that. Anybody who has learned little bit Vedanta, he will say Atma is Akarta. That's very easy. To say I am Akarta to mean I am Akarta makes a huge difference, isn't it? Because when you say Atma is Akarta, that is Paroksha Jnanam. You know there is something called Atma, consciousness, which is not capable of doing any action. Very easy to say. But to identify that consciousness with as you is a very big jump. So asangam udasinam parignyaya. Having known this fact very, very clearly through Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. What happens to him? Naslishyate yatihi kinchit kadachit. Naslishyate. So this internal sannyasi or jnani who has internally renounced ahankara, mamakara, kartritvam and bhoktritvam doesn't connect himself or identify himself with the karma. First, he is not connected to the karma, the action. And because of that reason, he does not produce karma phalam, agami punya papa. Because the rule is agami punya papam will be generated only when there is kartritvam. As we discussed in the last class. Animals, babies, minors, they don't have kartritvam, so they don't generate any agami punya papa. Just as a doctor, conducts a very difficult heart surgery or maybe even a neural surgery. His aim is to, first aim is to save the patient and make him better. He does not have any motive to harm the patient. And in the process of that attempt, suppose his effort fails and the patient dies also. The doctor doesn't get any papa. Even the law does not treat it as a murder because there is no ahankara playing, no motive of killing the person. Similarly, a jnani doesn't have kartritvam. He also doesn't generate agami punya papam. And therefore he says, naslishyate. He is not tainted by karma. So karma and karma phalam, both of them are sublated or falsified. Naslishyate. Here also Shruti Pramanam is there, which is quoted in Brahma Sutra. And the Pramanam is found in Chandogya Upanishad. Yatha pushkara palasha apo naslishyante evam viddhi papam karmana slishyate iti bravishu me bhagavan iti tasmai hovacha. This is the Chandogya Upanishad mantra. It says, just as water cannot stick to a lotus leaf, pushkara palasha means lotus leaf. May you know that, so also Papa karma or punya karma will not stick to a jnani. So that is the mantra. Shankaracharya doesn't quote the mantra, but he keeps the mantra in mind. That is why he uses the verb slishyate, which is the same as that verb used in the Chandogya Upanishad. So there is a Shruti Pramanam for what he is saying. So naslishyate kinchit kadachit bhavi karma bhi. Kinchit, even a little bit. Here kinchit is adverbial to slishyate. Kadachit also. Even a wee bit, even slightly he is not contaminated. he is not affected. Kadachit, at any time after jnanam. After jnanam is very important. Bhavi karma bihi. Bhavi means future. And future here refers to post knowledge. After knowledge, jnana anantara karmi bihi. And here the word karma, we can take both the meanings. Action as well as the results of action. So first he is not connected with action. Therefore, he is not connected to the results of action also. And since he does not have any connection with karma, the karma will not produce any punya papam. And Krishna also, there is a Gita Vakyam, which is also a pramanam. That is a smriti pramanam is there. Gata sangasya muktasya jnanavastita chetasah yajñayacharate karma samagram praviliyate. So there is a pramanam in Smriti also, in Bhagavad Gita also. There Krishna used the word samagram karma. And Shankaracharya interprets samagram as agrena phalena saha. Both is karma and karma phalam. The agami. Praviliyate vinashyati ityartaha. It is destroyed, as though destroyed. Even as it is done, it gets negated. Or the other way, which Tattvabodha says, it does not rise at all. And that is what Krishna again reiterates in the 18th chapter. Yasya naham krito bhavaha, yasya na aham kritaha iti bhavaha, buddhir yasya na lipyate, hatvapi sa iman lokan na hanti na nibhadyate. Beautiful shloka. The one who doesn't have aham karta iti bhavaha, buddhihi na lipyate. One who does not identify with karma, hatva api. See, goes to the extreme extent. If that jnani kills many people also, nahanti, he does not kill. Even his killing is as though killing. Na nibhadyate, he will not get bound by the karma phalam. He will not get punyam or papam. So punyam he will not get for killing. He will not get papam for that act. And that is why, even when soldiers, when they kill the enemies in the war, they are not punished. In fact, they are rewarded. Some Paramveer Chakra and all are given. Therefore, we have to understand when we are talking of law of karma, there are so many nuances to the law of karma. Whether there is punyam, papam arises out of a karma, we must understand. Whether the karma actually leads to any karma phalam. All these things, we must understand. And therefore, whenever we talk of karma, in both the meanings, action and also results of action, we have to look at it contextually. And for whatever understanding that we want to get, we must look to Shruti Pramanam, Shastra Pramanam. All that we have to see. So in this case, there is Shruti Pramanam is there, There is Gita, Shastra Pramanam is also there. And then one may ask, what about Yukti? Yukti means logic, reasoning. Yukti Pramanam is also there. Vyapti is yatra ahankaraha nasti, tatra karma phalam nasti. That is the Vyapti. An example, we have seen baby or an animal or a minor is an example. And Shankaracharya explains this example, yatha nabaha, like the space enclosed within a pot. So here, the body of a jnani is compared to a pot. And the consciousness in the body, which pervades the body, is compared to the pot space, the space inside the pot. Whatever happens in the pot doesn't taint the pot space. Similarly, whatever happens in the body doesn't affect the enclosed consciousness. This is the example he gives in this sloka, and he himself explains the example in the following sloka. We will read. Nanabho ghata yogena suragandhena lipyate tata atma upadi yogena tata atmopadi yogena tadharmainaiva lipyate. So he says, Anvaya, Nabaha gatayogena suragandhena nilipyate. We can supply yatha in the beginning. Yatha nabaha gatayogena suragandhena lipyate tata atma upadiyogena dharmaihi na eva lipyate. When we supply yatha, it becomes, the sentence becomes complete. Yatha, just as, nabaha, space, gatayogena, by association with the pot, suragandhena, by smell of liquor, na lipyate, is not tainted, tatha, similarly, atma, the consciousness, upadiyogena, by association with the upadis, dharmaihi, by their attributes, na eva, never, lipyate, is affected. So just as the space is not affected by association with the pot or by the smell of the liquor which is there in the pot, similarly, Atma is never affected by association with the upadis or their attributes. So the example of a pot which was cited in the previous sloka is explained here. As I said, we can add yatha before nabah, right? In the beginning of the sloka. And that will make the sloka grammatically complete. So we can rephrase the first line of the sloka as already said, yatha nabah ghatayogena suragandhena nirpyate. So you imagine there is a pot, empty pot, and within that pot some liquid is kept, and which liquid has got a very strong smell, aromas, fragrance, whatever you can call it. Here Shankaracharya takes the example of liquor, but it can be any other liquid or any other, padartha which has got a strong smell. So the pot space which is occupied by that liquid, that space is connected with the pot because it is enclosed by the pot. So even though the space is seemingly connected with the pot, it will not have the attribute of the pot. And here the attribute is the strong smell. So gataha is dravyam and the smell is guna hai or dharma hai. So gata sambandhe api, this is from Tarka Shastra. Ghata sambandhe sati api gata dharmaihi na lipyate. So even though pot space is connected to the pot, the space itself is not contaminated by the attribute of the pot, which is the strong smell. Similarly, upadhihi, the sharira trayam, the three bodies, stula, sukshma, karana, shariram, are like the pot. Karma is like the strong smelling liquid. So strong smell of punya and papam. Fragrance of punyam and foul smelling one is papam. Let us put it. There are two liquids, as it were, contained in the pot called the body. And the consciousness in the body is like space. So the consciousness itself will not have either punyam or papam. The sweet smell of punyam or the foul smell of papam will not contaminate the consciousness, even though consciousness is enclosed in and connected to the body. That is the beautiful example he gives. So Gata Yogena. Gata Yogena means Gata Sambandhena. Being connected with the pot. What is connected? What is Gata Yoga? Nabaha, the space. Even though space has got association with the pot, being enclosed space within the pot, suragandhe na lipyate. The foul smell, the space does not acquire the foul smell which only belongs to the pot. Even air can carry the smell, mind you, but space, akasha, cannot have the smell at all. Because if akasha gets the smell, what will happen? All through the life, in that particular space, that smell will linger. Because space doesn't move. Space has got no space to move. Isn't it? But we don't experience that. Therefore, suragandhena. Sura means liquor. I hope you all know that. Suragandhena na lipyate. And tata atma upadhi yogena. He's now putting the example. So just as pot space is not contaminated, tata, in the same way, atma, the enclosed consciousness, the atma chaitanyam, upadhi yogena, even though it has got connection with the enclosure, the threefold body, sharira trayam, upadhi yogena, in spite of the sambandha, tad dharmaihi na eva lipyate. Tad dharmaihi means upadhi dharmaihi, the attributes of stula shariram, etc. Like sickness, to take stula shariram, sickness, pain, etc. Atma doesn't have. It doesn't have the pain of the body. If you take the sukshma shariram, it doesn't have raga dvesha of the mind. And if you take the karana shariram, the punya papam stored in the karana shariram, the atma doesn't have. Na punya, na papam, na saukyam, na dukkham. Nirvana Shatakam. Similarly, Name Dvesha Ragau, Name Lobha Mohau, Madho Naiva Me Naiva Matsarya Bhava. Nirvana Shatakam is a beautiful, complete Vedanta is there. Beautiful. So, Jnani will never take physical attributes, mental attributes as his own attributes. Therefore, tad dharmaihi. Here the word, in the context, we can interpret the word dharma as referring to agami, punyam and papa. Well, that is the topic we are discussing. Na lipyate, he is not connected to. Because agami, punya, papam is not generated for. Karma cannot taint the consciousness because Atma is Asanga. And even though Shankaracharya doesn't explain it or mention it, we must remember that Atma is of a higher order of reality. Just like waking state is a higher order of reality as compared to the dream state. That is why whatever happens in the dream does not pass on to the or does not get attached to the waking state. Similarly, whatever is happening in the waking state will not affect the super waker because he has gone up in the order of reality. Therefore, the jnani doesn't acquire agami punya papam. Agami punya papam is avoided. And we have already seen sanchitam is sublated or falsified. Now, there is one more angle or perspective which is added by Tattva Bodha and some other texts also rather. And they give another statement, a sort of a suppositional statement. The way they present it is, even if agami punya papams are generated, it will not come to the jnani. What will happen to them? That agami punya papam will be distributed to other people who are ajnanis. So two situations. One is agami punya papam doesn't arise. So jnani doesn't get affected. Another is they do arise, but jnani is not affected. Similarly, like sanchita karma. We saw earlier, sanchita karma, it arises. But jnani does not get affected. When he gains jnanam, the entire sanchita karma gets falsified. Similarly, agami punya papam are generated. But for the jnani, they are falsified. But otherwise, for ajnanis, they are very much there. That agami punya papam of a jnani, agami punya papam pertaining to a jnani's body is still there. So Tattva says that those who worship the jnani will gain all his punyams. And those that ill-treat the jnani or criticize the jnani will get his papam, agami papam. Well, jnani will not deliberately generate papam, isn't it? But if inadvertently some papam is generated, let us say, that agami papam will go to those who ill-treat him. This is a suppositional argument, a secondary statement. It is meant only to glorify the jnani, what we call arthavada. And that is not the main teaching. In fact, we don't find any pramanam for this interpretation which is there in Tattva Bodha. But a text like Sattva Bodha, they give this statement to encourage people to worship a Jnani. Because people, Ajnanis, they will not do anything unless they have got something, some benefit out of it. So people will ask, what will I get? Even today, people ask, what will I get by going to the temple? I won't go to the temple. What will I get by going there? Unfortunately, the human being, they want everything, something should be done, given motivation for doing things. That is why Swami Chinmayananda used to say, animal man. If you have gone to a circus or any this animal shows, dolphin shows and all, as soon as the dolphin performs or the animals in the circus, they perform any act, then their whoever is the trainer or who is there handling them, he will give them something to eat, put something in the mouth. That is the incentive for them to do it next time. So the people who always keep expecting something for doing something, they are no different from animals. They are animal man. That's what is a animal man. So Swami Chinmayananda ji, he actually, the stage of progress, he says, from animal man to man and to superman, God man. That is the progress of spirituality. Children, they are closer to animals. They also require some, incentive to do things. So what is given in the Tattva Bodha as Arthavada is to encourage people or to discourage people. Encourage people to praise or worship a Jnani and to discourage people from ill-treating him. But we should not take such statements seriously. It should be taken for what it is meant, for glorification of a Jnani. The correct position is that Agami Punya Papam are not generated in the case of a Jnani. Thus, the Agami topic is also complete. So each one has got two slokas, 91, 92 for Sanchita Karma, 93, 94 for Agami Karma. Now we will enter the Prarabdha Karma topic. Verse number 95. So we have seen Sanchita Karma falsified. Agami Karma is not generated at all. What happens to Prarabdha Karma? Acharya says, Jnanodayat Purarabdham Karma Jnananna Nashyati Adhatva Swapalam Lakshyam Uddishyot Srishta Bhanavat. So the Anvaya is Lakshyam Uddishya Utsrishta Bhanavat Jnana Udayat Pura Arabdham Karma Swafalam Adhatva Jnanat Na Nashyati. That is something which we have to very carefully note. The word meaning I'll give you. Lakshyam, the target. Uddishya, directed against. Utsrishta Bhanavat, like a released arrow. Jnana Udayat Pura, before the rise of knowledge. Arabdham Karma, the karma that has begun. Swafalam Adhatva, without giving its result. Jnanat, by knowledge. Na Nashyati, does not go away, is not falsified, is not destroyed. So like the arrow released, directed against the target, the karma phala that has begun fructifying before the rise of knowledge does not go away, by knowledge without giving its result. So this is regarding prarabdham, for which also two answers are to be given from two different angles. The first answer is from Laukika Ajnani Drishti, from the standpoint of worldly people who are ignorant of all this Atma Jnanam and Atma and consciousness, etc. Therefore, who take a Jnani not as Atma, like they take their own body as themselves, they take the Jnani also as his Stula Shariram only. Stula Shariram, or you can extend it, Stula Sukshma Karana Shariram, body, mind, sense complex. So from that angle, Laukika Ajnani Drishtiya, what happens to Jnani's Prarabdham is the first answer, which is given in two verses. Then Shankaracharya will talk about Shastriya Jnani Drishtiya. From Shastric angle, from the Jnani's angle, what is the answer with regard to Prarabdham? That we will see from verse 97 onwards. So verses 95 and 96 are talking about Laukika Ajnani Drishtiya Jnani's Prarabdham. Now what is that? And that is Jnanam does not destroy Prarabdham. Jnanam can destroy Sanchitam. It can also save a Jnani from Agami. But Jnanam cannot do anything to Jnani's Prarabdham. Therefore, Prarabdha Punya Papam will continue. So Jnani's body will continue. Because the lifespan of the body is determined by the quantum of Prarabdha. Since Jnani's body continues, his Prarabdham continues. Or other way around, since his Prarabdham continues, his body also continues. That is the answer given. So, Jnana Udayat Pura Arabdham Karma. Pura Arabdham means the karma or punya papam, which has already started fructification at the time of the birth of the Jnani's body. So, Janma Kale, Sharira Arambha Kale Pura. Pura means before, earlier. So, here before means before the rise of Jnana. Jnanotpattehe Purvam Arabdham. That which has already started. Which is another name, of course, for Prarabdham. Pura Arabdham means Prarabdham Karma. Jnana Udayat Pura Karma. Karma done before the rise of knowledge, which has already started giving its results. It has already started fructification. Jnanat na nashyati is not destroyed by Jnanam. So that means what? Yeah, Prarabdham will continue. And not only will it continue, it will not go away without producing its phalam. It has to give its phalam. Swaphalam adhatva, he says, without producing its result, na nashyati. So we must connect these two. Swaphalam adhatva na nashyati, we have to connect. So prarabdham will never go away or die without generating its results. And what are they? Prarabdha punyam will give up the jnani pleasurable experiences. Prarabdha papam will give painful experiences. So will jnani have prarabdha papam or not? We have to understand. We must not confuse all these with Sanchita karma and Agami karma. Prarabdham is a separate area rather. Every human birth is because of a mixture of Punya Papa. In fact, it is said that when the Punya Papam are more or less balanced, you get a human birth. When the Punyam is very, very, large quantity, or in the mixture Punyam content is very high, you get a Devata birth, Devata body you will get. If Papam is very high in the mixture, content of Papam is high, then you get a animal body or a plant body. When the Punyam and Papam are more or less even, you get a human body. There also, slight variations are there, in the sense that is only slightly, if the Punyam is slightly more, you will get a body which is more tuned to sattvic approach. If the papam is little more, you may have some congenital disease and all you may be born with, which will give you suffering. Of course, when we talk about a jnani, he has got lot of punyam. Maybe not as much as requiring a devata body. In fact, beyond that, he has got punyam, so that he is given a human birth, and in which alone he can get a guru. He can do Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. He can gain Jnanam and be totally freed. In no other body this is possible. Only in the human body this is possible. So even though he got a human body because of the balance of, Punyam Papam, the content of Punyam is, or the quality of Punyam is such that even in the human body, he is presented with an opportunity to gain Jnanam. So, Jnani, when he is born, he will have Punyam and there is Papam also. And that Papam will not see whether he is a Jnani or Ajnani, because it only sees the body, mind, sense complex. Therefore, as Prarabdham affects an Ajnani, Prarabdham will also affect a Jnani. So yeah, even after gaining Jnanam, he may have all sorts of, he is not going to be saved from old age, diseases, and death. All diseases are all Prarabdha karma which determine this. So it will affect this Stula Shariram, Sukshma Shariram, Jnanendriyani, Karmendriyani, everything. His sense organs, sense faculties may go away. Like Jnani also will lose his eyesight as he grows older. Cataract he will develop. Hearing may fail. All this will happen. What happens to a Jnani will happen to a Jnani also, because driven by Prarabdha karma. He will also have backache, knee pain. Walking may be difficult. He will require a walking stick. He may also be affected by Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease. So all these things, continuous challenges a Jnani can face. He may even get, terminal diseases like cancer, etc. Therefore, Prarabdha will affect the Jnani also, exactly as in the case of an Ajnani. No difference at all. This we have to understand very carefully. And that is why we have seen Jnanis like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, even Pujya Swamiji, so many health problems. And when there is health problem, there are emotional problems. And this all many people don't understand. They say, in fact, it is their belief that a jnani, by blessing these disciples, is taking all the papam of the disciples. And that is why jnani is suffering. All total misconceptions. People just invent ideas. Nobody can take over the punya papa of anyone else, including a jnani. Jnani's suffering is not because of somebody else's punya papam. It is his own prarabdham that affects him. That is why he says, swaphalam adhatva. Swa here refers to jnani's prarabdha karma, his own karma. So prarabdha karma phalam adatva, without giving its result, karma will not go away. It has come with an agenda at the time of birth. All these papams are going to be neutralized in this janma by papams and punyams, both rather, by experiencing the results, respective results. So at the time of birth itself, that is given. And that is what Jyotisha Shastra tries to capture in the form of an horoscope. If there is someone who has studied the Jyotisha Shastra and can actually read the horoscope, interpret the horoscope correctly, he will be able to find out all these things. Not only for a jnani, for an ajnani also. It is possible. I have personally seen people do it, exactly predicting things by looking at the horoscope. So unless the body exhausts every drop of prarabdham, the prarabdha karma will ensure that the body survives. Even if it is in the ICU, attached to lot of tubes and what all they put there, ventilator, etc., it will continue to survive till the last prarabdham, which determines the death, comes. That's why we see people in ICU for a long time, many times. And suddenly one day the doctor tells that now the body is gone. Then we will question, why keep the body in ICU with all these things? Unnecessarily allowed the body to go away earlier. Not for you to determine. The body will not go away till that prarabdham is completed. Being in the ICU for that period of time is also part of that prarabdha. So the body has to undergo all sukham and dukkham, which is meant for this janma, and it will experience that. And therefore, swaphalam adatva jnanat na nashyati. And an example is given. Adi Shankara, that is the beauty. He explains everything with a beautiful example. In fact, if you study Atma Bodha, every shloka, every aspect is given. Beautiful examples he gives. Here also he has adopted that. He gave Swapna Drashtanta for Sanchitam, Gatakasha Drashtanta for Agami, and here for Prarabdham, he gives the example. It's a very well known example in the Shastra of an arrow released by an archer. An archer has got the quiver in which there are many arrows. Those unused arrows can be taken away, they can be destroyed also and not used. They are all like Sanchita Karma, unused arrows. Now imagine the hunter archer has taken out one arrow, which is the Prarabdha Karma. And he aims it at some wild animal and he releases the arrow. The arrow starts traveling. Let us imagine it in slow motion, like they do it in pictures and all. It is traveling. And when the arrow is midway, the hunter realizes that what he shot was not a wild animal, but there is the innocent cow towards which the arrow is going. And this person, he is a very staunch religious person. He doesn't want to kill the cow because he knows that go hatya is a very big papam. All this imaginary. Huh? So he is disturbed. Oh my God, because of my misunderstanding, my misconception, my poor eyesight, I release the arrow thinking it's an animal, wild animal. So the cause of the release may be misconception. Now, when the arrow is midway, the misconception is gone. The cause for the arrow release is gone, but even though the cause has gone away, he cannot stop the effect. The arrow traveling towards that animal. The causal misconception is gone, but the effect, the journey of the arrow cannot be stopped. It will continue and it will hit the unfortunate cow and it will hurt or kill the cow. This is the example. And in this sloka, very contextually, beautifully, Acharya uses this example. And in the next sloka, as his style is, he will explain the example. So let us just look at the example in this sloka. Lakshyam uddishya utsrishta banavat. Uddishya means with the target in mind. Lakshyam means the target. So Lakshyam uddishya means with the target in mind. Here, of course, as we saw, it's a wild animal. Utsrishta banaha, released arrow. Vat means like. So Utsrishta Banavat means like a released arrow. Like the arrow which has been released, keeping the target as a wild animal. And the arrow has been released in the direction of the target. This is the example. Released arrow example. Now Shankaracharya explains the example in the next verse. Verse number 96. We will read. व्याघ्रबुद्ध्या विनिर्मुक्तः बाणः पश्चात्तु गोमतौ न तिष्ठति छिन्नत्येव लक्ष्यं वेगेन निर्भरम्. The Anvaya is Vyagrabuddhya Vinirmuktah Paschat Gomatau tu na tishtati nirbharam Vegena Laksham Chinnati eva. Vyagra Buddhya, with the idea of striking a tiger. Vinirmuktaha, released. Banaha, the arrow. Paschat, later. Gomatautu, when it is discovered to be a cow. Nattishtati, does not stop. Nirbharam, surely. Vegena, with speed. Lakshyam, the target. Chinnati eva, thus indeed pierce. So an arrow released with the idea of striking a tiger does not stop when it is discovered later to be a cow, but surely indeed it does strike the target. Vinirmuktaha banaha, the arrow which has been released by the archer or bowman. So at the time of release, what was in his mind? What was his thinking? Vyagra Buddhya. His idea was that there is a tiger behind those bushes and I have come here to hunt the tiger. So I will take out this arrow and I will shoot that arrow towards the tiger. Probably he has not seen the tiger, but he has assumed that there was some movement behind the bush. He could not probably see it very clearly. Assumed that's a tiger. We have seen that, in the story of, which was the story?
Dasharath Maharaj, Shravana Kumar's.
Shravana Kumar. What Dasharatha did, killing Shravana Kumar. He thought it was a wild animal. And so that's how Dasharatha gets that curse. So, Vyagra Buddhya, with the idea that there is a wild tiger behind the shrub, he released the arrow. So, Vyagra Buddhya Vinirmukta Banaha. Then what happened? Paschat tu Gaumatau. Paschat, after releasing the arrow, Banaha Vinirmukta Anantaram. Gomatau Satyam. Or Gomatau Jatayam, you can say. A new understanding came. That in reality, the target animal is not a tiger, it is a cow. A sacred cow. Iti matihi. That knowledge. So, Gomatau Jatayam Satyam api na tishtati. After knowing the fact, even though the cause of arrow release is removed, the arrow will not stop. Natishtati means the arrow cannot be stopped. Then what it will do? Chinnati lakshyam eva. Chinnati means it will pierce, it will hit, it will strike. What? The lakshyam, the target, which he now understands is a cow. So Gam eva chinnati. And because of his change of mind, because he has now become a cow jnani, will the arrow slow down a little bit and just go away, not harming the cow? No. Arrow will vegena nirbharam. Nirbharam is adverb qualifying chinnati. Forcefully, nirbharam means forcefully, strongly. Vegena, because of the speed or velocity of the arrow, it will deeply pierce the cow and may even kill it. Chinnati. So the entire event started when he was a cow ajnani hunter. Now he is a cow jnani hunter. But this cow jnani hunter cannot stop the consequence of releasing the arrow when he was cow ajnani. The cow jnani will have to face the consequence or injury or death of the cow. Similarly, a jnani will have to face the consequences of his prarabdham, even though the prarabdham itself has been released before jnana. Ajnanam, the cause, the karanam of prarabdham is gone. But the effect of the prarabdham will continue even after jnanam. And that is the idea. Chinnatyeva lakshyam vegena nirbharam. In Tattva Bodha, he says, prarabdham karmanam bhogadeva kshayaha. Prarabdha will end only through bhoga, experiences of pleasure and pain. And therefore, jnani will get complete freedom from karma only after the exhaustion of the prarabdha. And remember, all these things we are discussing in the context of Videha Mukti. So after Jnanam, he will get partial freedom from karma, which is Sanchitam and Agami, but complete freedom from karma is only after Prarabdham is exhausted. And for this also, Pramanam is there in Chandogya Upanishad. Tasya tavadeva chiram yavanna vimoksheta sampatsya iti. Tasya tavadeva chiram yavat na vimoksheta. So for a jnani, total freedom from karma will be delayed. How long? Until vimoksheta, until he is free from prarabdha effect also. Until that, he has to wait. Thereafter only total freedom from all types of karma will be there. Thus, because of Shruti, Yukti, Anubhava, Pramanena, we come to know what happens to the threefold karmas of a jnani. Sanchitam is destroyed, Agami is avoided, and Prarabdham is exhausted by the jnani by going through pleasurable and painful experiences. With this, all three karmas have been dealt with. I mentioned there are prarabdha is approached from two perspectives. We have completed one perspective. Next one we will take up in the next class. Okay, I'll stop here. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Thank you all very much. Dhanyavadaha.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram. Namaskaram.
Dhanyawada Guruji.
Dhanyavada. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Guruji. Namaste.
Thank you. Namaste. Namaste. So
Thank
actually,
you.
Hari and
Thank you,
two
Guruji.
others have raised. I don't know who was the first to raise the hand, but it doesn't matter. Anyone can start. Hariji is, I think, senior, so I'll give him the opportunity.
Hari Om Guruji.
Hari Om.
Guruji, this Agami for a Jnani is not applicable. Is it because, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is it because he doesn't have the Kartrutva Bhavana that so that the law of cause and effect is not applicable to him?
Correct. He doesn't have ego, he doesn't have Kartrutva Bhavana. Ahankara is completely diluted. So there's
Yeah.
no Kartrutva, no Bhoktrutva, right?
Yeah.
So he does not attract Agami Karma.
So that, in other words, he is not subject to the law of cause and effect.
Except Prarabdha Karma.
Yeah, that is okay. I am talking about the new
Sanchita
Agami.
and Agami Karma is not subject to the cause and effect of karmas done by him or his body after Jnana. Before Jnana, whatever was done, we have seen that it goes and joins Sanchita and gets falsified. Correct.
It is because he doesn't do any karma.
Yes.
Though it is all inaction in action.
Inaction in action.
Okay.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hari Om.
Hari Om. Yes. Girish ji.
Hari Om, Guruji. You know, when we talk about prarabdha exhaustion, but during the process, we are still continue to add karma. No? In the, okay, one side, the papa punya, the result is being exhausted, but in the process, also we are doing karmas, which will have subsequent effects.
Yes. That is for an Ajnani you are talking about, right?
Okay, okay.
From
Okay.
an Ajnani perspective, we are on the one hand exhausting Punya Papas,
Ah,
past Punya Papas. On the other hand, we are earning fresh Punya Papas.
correct.
And
Correct.
in the fresh Punya Papas also possible, some of them we may exhaust in this life.
Oh,
Right. But the balance which is left at the time of our death, it will get added to the Sanchitam. And out of that, a fresh set of Prarabdha will come out. And we will get our next life. That is the reason for this Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. There is only
okay.
one way to get rid of this entire karma and
Jnanam.
escape from this miserable life of being born again and again and again is Jnanam.
Agree.
That is
And
the root. If you gain Jnanam, finished. This is the last life.
correct.
That's all.
Majority of the people who claim that they are religious, okay, by means of various different routes they takes to attain, but I think fundamentally they are missing the target because they don't understand about the law of karma.
They don't understand. That's exactly the thing. They have not studied the Shastram. They have no understanding of this thing. Veda, they might have studied the Purva Bhaga, but they have not studied the end, the conclusion of what the Vedas say. They have not studied that. So they are still, their knowledge is limited to what is said in Purva Bhaga. Do all these karmas, earn lot of punyam and all that. But the more punyam you earn, there is a potential for you to earn more papam also in the process.
Correct.
And then you are subjecting yourself for continuation of that. So that is why, for those people, how Shastra defines moksha in the Puranas, the Pauranic moksha is different from the Vedic moksha.
Okay.
Pauranic moksha says your moksha, you go to Vaikuntham, you go to Kailasa, you go to heaven. That is moksha for you. Whereas Vedantic moksha is you don't go anywhere. Vedantic moksha is to start with you are a Mukta Purusha. There is nothing called moksham. You are free right from beginning. Nature wise, you are free. You are Sachidananta Swarupaha. But because of your ignorance of this fact, you have got all these problems in life. So all that Vedanta is trying to tell you is, if you gain this knowledge that you are already, a moksha purusha or mukta purusha, there is nothing more to be done. No action, if you are bound, no action can release you from bondage. Unless you are originally mukta and you are because of your misunderstanding, misconception, you have taken yourself to be bound. That is the ultimate conclusion of Vedas. Every jiva is actually mukta jiva only. But because of our own ignorance of that fact, we are taking ourselves to be a bound person. And therefore, what Vedanta says, that you cannot, nothing you have to do for gaining moksha is to understand that you are you are what you are searching for.
Yes.
You are already what you are searching for.
Seeking. Yeah.
That's all. You are already, that you understand, then you are Mukta Purusha. That is the whole crux of Vedanta.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you. And one more thing. Actually, you told about 3 examples. In one is for Prarabdha, okay, and another one for Agami. And prior to that, you told about Sanchida. What is the example you have given? One is Gataka and another one is Arrow.
Gatakasha was for Agami.
Okay.
Then this arrow was for
Prarabdha.
Sanchita Karma. What was it?
Yeah, that's what I'm also trying
Anybody
recall.
has been listening carefully. Example person, don't look at your notes. I can also look at my notes and tell. Anybody remembering Sanchita Karma? What was this? We saw that example in the last class, no doubt.
Yeah, I'm also trying to recall.
See, unless we recall, it will not stay in our mind.
True, true.
Lataji, do you remember?
No, Guruji, I don't remember, but I'm trying to look at the notes.
Anybody else? Satya, you remember?
No, Guruji, even I'm trying to recall.
Okay, all are rebooting.
All are rebooting.
God bless,
Because
God bless. Thank you.
I want to see whether how much involvement is there in the class, you know. So that is the thing.
Hari Om Guruji. Thank you.
No, I'll tell you what is the this thing, you know.
It's like the one who I'm looking at the sloka and trying to say, Guruji. It's the one who wakes up from the dream. The waker, he realizes that
Swapna karmavati.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right?
Yeah.
That is Sanchita Karma example.
okay, okay.
The order of reality, as I even explained, you know.
Yeah,
What karmas you do in the dream, it doesn't affect you, that punya papa in your waking state.
right.
Similarly, whatever karmas you do, it doesn't affect you in a super waking state.
Correct. Okay.
Yeah.
Clear, clear.
Okay.
Thank you. Hari Om Guruji.
Hari Om, Hari Om. Yes, Satya, what is your question?
Namaste, Guruji. Guruji, so since you had mentioned Nirvana Satkam today, I just had a question from that question. We have just a second, Guruji. Na punyam na papam na saukyam na dukkham na mantro na tirtham na veda na yajnana aham bodhatam neva bhojyam na bhokta chidananda rupa shivoham shivam. So, Guruji, when Adi Shankaracharya Bhagavad Gita says that there is no punyam, there is no papam, so is it the absolute truth that none of these actually count, or is it for the jnani that none of these actually come into place? Because I want to understand at what stage has actually, because if I remember the story of Adi Shankaracharya Bhagavad Gita correctly, he mentions this Nirvana Shaktam when one of his gurus asks him who he is, right, Guruji? I think that's when this comes. So when he actually says this, what is the state of him explaining that there is no papam, there is no punya, all of this, Guruji? Because when we take karma yoga, when we take jnana yoga, when we take bhakti marga, all of these things actually come into place. We entirely devote our life trying to do good careers and trying to earn some punyam at least, Guruji. So when he says none of these actually are there, I'm trying to understand in what stage does it come.
Shivoham, Shivoham.
Yeah.
When you understand, I am consciousness.
Great, Guruji.
My nature is that. My nature
Right.
is of consciousness. I am not this. I don't have a name. I don't have a form. Nothing is there.
Right.
Nama Rupa Atita hai I am. Only as Ganapathy or, as Satya, I gain all these things. Punyam, Papanda. When I am disassociating myself,
Right.
it is just like, you are taking somebody in your family out of your will. Doesn't get anything. So,
Okay.
you take yourself out of this, all these things.
Okay.
By only
Okay.
one word, Shivoham, Shivoham.
Shivoham.
Realize I am Shivaha. Shivaha
Shiva.
here means consciousness, right?
Eternal consciousness.
Eternal consciousness, limitless consciousness, all-pervading consciousness.
Consciousness.
I am Kalatita, Gunatita, Avastatrayatita, Shariratrayatita. When you realize that, all these things go away.
Right.
I mean, go away means, that is why Shankara and even Vedas bring the concept of mithya. Because for some people, they are real. Right?
Right.
For few, they are unreal.
Okay.
So the word mithya means what? It appears to exist, but it does not exist. Just like a mirage.
Like a mirage.
Right?
Right. Okay.
Mirage water. So many examples are given in the Shastra. What is that? Shuktika Rajatam, which is, the seashells on the shore of a sea, they will shine bright in the sunlight
Right.
like they are silver. So if you go rush to, oh, they're silver pieces, you will find they are only some ordinary shells. Appear to
Great,
be
Guruji.
silver, but there is no silver. Silver is false.
Silver. Right.
Like rope snake example. So many examples
Right.
are used to make you understand what is this mithya about. Mithya is
Right.
not false. Mithya is not non-existent. Mithya is, it is non-existent but appears to be existing.
Existing. Okay.
That's how you have to understand. So
Okay.
when you understand that all these body, mind, sense complex are all appearing to be existent, but actually there is no existence of that, because there is only one thing existing, which is what? Sadeva. Existence, consciousness, Satya, that is Satyam, Jnanam, Anantam is what is the reality of this entire universe.
Right.
Is that reality which is appearing as you, me, all this thing and all. So they appear to be existing, but in reality they have no existence. So that is the
Okay.
Satyam Mithya difference.
Okay.
That is
Okay.
why it said Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
That is the background reason for that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks a lot, Guruji.
Thank you. Any other question? Is that your hand, Lataji?
Yes, Guruji.
Okay.
I'm sorry, the name is showing, it's only my husband's name is showing there because it's on my husband's iPad.
No, I'm seeing the screen is split to two screens. It looks like maybe because of the background, some door or something is there.
I
Okay,
know
what's
it's
your
the
question?
door, because the door is open, it's looking like a
Yeah,
screen is.
yeah.
Namaste, Guruji. I think what Satyaji was asking, it's like the Nirvanashtakam is declaration by the Gyani himself, like I'm not this, I'm not this, I'm not this. That's what is such a beautiful one. But Guruji, my question is regarding today's, my mind is looking at it in a contradictory way. I'm rather perceiving it as a contradictory way about the Agami Karma and what we just discussed about Agami Karma and in the Prarabdha Karma. In Agami Karma, you mentioned that Punyam Papam are generated by Gyani, but they do not bear fruit. But his Punyam goes to the people who rever or worship him, and his Papam go to the people who kind of have blamed him or insulted him or caused him harm. That's one statement. But then when we were talking about the Prarabdha Karma, you mentioned that nobody can take other people's punyam or papam. So my mind is looking at them as kind of contradictory statements.
That's why this distribution of this punyam papam mentioned only in texts like Tattva Bodha and some other texts, correct? I told you also it's Arthavada. Arthavada means it is just sort of, what you can say, glorifying a Jnani. And in terms of glorifying the Jnani, what Tattva Bodha is insisting is, so you look at a Jnani with lot of reverence. If you are going to criticize a Jnani, if you are going to insult a Jnani, then all his papam will come to you.
Right.
So there is that, as I also told, this has got no Vedic pramanam for this.
Okay.
This is a statement we find in one or two, this thing. Even here in Vivekachudamani, Adi Shankara doesn't talk about it. Only in Tattva Bodha,
But
that
Tattva
also,
Bodha he has mentioned, Guruji.
in Tattva Bodha it is there.
Right.
So Jnani's karma Punya karma will go to people who worship him, and Papa karma will go to those people who actually criticize him or, insult him, etc. There in Tattva Bodha. And that is one more reason why researchers say Tattva Bodha is not a work of Adi Shankaracharya. Because if it is his work, then he would have brought that concept also in Vivekachudamani. Both Tattva Bodha and Vivekachudamani, both of them are Prakarana Granthas. Correct. So he would have brought the same idea here, and that is why they say Tattva Bodha is not by Adi Shankaracharya, but it could be by some Shankaracharya coming in the line of probably Kanchi, lineage. Some Shankaracharya might have written Tattva Bodha. So that is possible. So there they have got the liberty to include all these kind of things, But Adi Shankaracharya is very clear in his law of karma, and that is the position from the Vedanta point of view also, rather, from Upanishad point of view also. This is the position that Jnani does not generate any karma because of no ahankara, no kartritvam, no bhoktritvam. So that is the correct position we have to understand. Tattva Bodha, whatever is said is okay, right at the beginning stage. See, Tattva Bodha is a text which we study as a total Ajnani, correct? We have no clue about all these things and we start with Tattva Bodha. Basic Tattva Bodha is what? Definition of terminology used in Vedanta. That is all is Tattva Bodha. It is like a dictionary, kind of a limited dictionary where all Vedanta terms are explained with some additional information about them. Some examples are given. So Tattva Bodha is not the main text for Vedanta. Whereas Vivekachudamani in that sense is a real Prakarana Grantha, because Shankaracharya beautifully covers everything right up to Videha Mukti. He covers everything here. So don't get confused because of this content. That is why, the reason why that I brought it up, and for that matter, even Swami Paramathananda brings it up. Because if there are people who are here who have studied Tattva Bodha, and remember, of course, that is second part is more important. Remember, then they will have this contradiction. Tattva Bodha, it is said like this, here it is said like this, which is the real position. Your question that way become very valid. So what we do, what Swami Paramathananda has done, he has brought in the Tattva Bodha concept also, and he has clarified which is the correct position. Don't get confused by Tattva Bodha. This is the correct position. And it is logically also correct, because Kartrutvam, Bhoktritvam, if it is not there, then the question of Agami karma being generated after Jnanam doesn't arise. Isn't it? Logically, that should be the thing. Otherwise, there will be a contradiction, like you have got a, understanding, contradictory understanding. That is the correct position. Tattva Bodha, just for this portion, you forget Tattva Bodha. In fact, you can forget Tattva Bodha, because we have come long from Tattva Bodha, from, Bhagavad Gita, Vivekachudamani, so many, even Vishnu Sahasranama, and that we have done. Come a long way from Tattva Bodha.
Yeah,
You can
but
say
just
that Tattva Bodha was teaching us like Baba, black shape, and Humpty Dumpty and all that nursery rhyme kind of a thing. When we grow up, we ignore all those things, isn't it? So this part, take it.
just out of interest, Guruji, that is I think we have heard this at in Puranas and then everywhere. Like Gyanis are they're all great bhaktas of Bhagwan. So Bhagwan will tolerate insults to him, but not insults to his bhaktas. So anyone who insults the bhaktas, they get all the papams, and then those who revere the bhaktas, they get the punyam. So that way we have heard.
Some Puranas may be mentioning all these things. Again, the purpose is only glorification.
Yes.
You glorify Bhagavan like that, he is all very, Bhagavan is a very compassionate person. If you insult, he will forgive you, but then that will go to other people, and all those kind of things are there. But as Vedantins, as people who are now seriously into the real Atma Jnanam, we can ignore all those kind of things rather.
Okay, Guruji. Thank you very much. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else? Any other question? Nothing seems to be there. No hands are going up. So we will end the session. Continue in the next class. Okay. Hari Om.
Hari Om. Hari Om Guruji. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
So,
Thank you.